Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ghouls Gone Wild podcast. My name is Adam Gork, and today, my guest today is sitting right next to me. And his name is Travis Everett from the band Witchgrinder. What's going on, dude?
Hey, Adam. I don't know. You name it. There's lots going on. We're keeping busy.
Yeah, it's always a good thing, right? You just finished off a small tour, didn't you?
Yeah, we just finished our Australian tour, just of the major cities.
Oh, nice. Whereabouts did you play?
We played Sydney, Adelaide. Done one up actually in Mildura.
Yeah.
Brisbane, the Gold Coast, and finished up in Melbourne.
Oh, nice. All headlining as well, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Sweet.
Except for we did headline, but one was a festival in Adelaide. That was a Metal United Down Under festival. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is that new?
No, it's actually, I think that's been going for, I think it was its 10th year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's new to me because I haven't really heard of that before until you told me.
Yeah, well,
that's pretty cool.
They actually run it in a bunch of cities. It's like the same night and the same day in a different city all across Australia.
Yeah.
And it's run, they're all called the Metal United Down Under shows. So it's just a bunch of bands all playing the same night all across Australia somewhere.
Well, that's pretty cool. I guess that's a really good way to get smaller, unknown metal bands to get their names out there as well too.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's great. I've actually been listening to your the latest album a lot lately, and I have to say, dude, it fucking kicks ass.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No worries. No, anytime, dude. Was the first album you guys recorded in how long? 8 years? 9 years?
Yeah, it was 2015 was our last full studio album, so it had been a long time.
Yeah, so how come? Why that long to write another album?
It wasn't actually the writing. It was more the members of the band changed. Like 2015, the band kind of we all went separate ways.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure about writing another album at that stage, and then there was a couple of other members that had joined, but they were mostly kind of like, it was more of a live band. It wasn't really a studio band. It was just more of a band to get on tour, to play a lot of shows. I'd done a little bit of writing in between, but it wasn't until I had the full lineup was in Witchgrinder, Scotty on guitar, Jake on bass. Oops, screen's gone dead. So once the full lineup was there, then I felt motivated to start writing music again and release stuff. They were a big help with writing it as well. So we were ready just before COVID come in, and COVID come, and so we all took that time just to actually have a break from everything. I don't think I'd done really any writing. I had a couple of injuries as well, so there was a lot of other things to focus on. But as soon as we came out of that, so 2023, we started writing the album. So yeah, it really only took us about a year to do, but because of that time in between, we hadn't, we weren't ready to release anything.
Yep. So like within that long period of time, did you have those songs ready back then?
No, some of the ideas that made it onto the album were from back then. A couple of riffs and all that, but not really, because we find that Like if it's something like that takes so long, it's nearly, to me, it's you kind of move on from those ideas. Like most times when you go in to do an album, it's how you feel and how you're playing in at the moment in time. I feel that it wouldn't have been as like I said, we could still use. There was nothing that we couldn't use, but if we set out to write an album or something, we like to do it in that time, how we're feeling on that, in that particular moment, how we're playing. It's a bit more true to itself, if that's So we've actually already started on our next. even before this
cool.
one was even before this one was out, we there's a bunch of stuff left over from this one's that we've that just didn't make it onto this album. Just not because it was no good. We just didn't have time. We didn't have enough money to be in the studio for long enough, or there were certain reasons why. But it's good because it just means we're going to have new material. Maybe as even soon as next year. We don't know.
Oh, that'd be cool. Would you make like another concept album like what you did with this one?
Yeah, the thoughts there. There's a couple of ideas, but I don't want to give away anything yet.
Yeah. Because I love the opening track, My Exorcist. It's probably like one of my favorite songs on that album, but they all sound good because it really has that Wednesday 13 vibe to it, which is what I like. And also a little bit of that Rob Zombie Sinister's Urge industrial sound a little bit, which is like, that's a great album as well. But like, how did you come up with the name titles? Because obviously they all sound like all from like horror movies.
Yeah, well, some are.
Yeah.
I've always got a massive list of song titles that I just think like sound cool. It's a weird little thing that I do. So I write down a bunch of song titles. And then when I start writing a song, I'll look at the page of these song titles, and if one kind of just hits me, one sounds like that's what it's meant to be. Like I just think it finds its spot. So then I kind of pick it out, and then it's easy for me to write the lyrics once it's got a title, or it could be a working title. Like it's not like we're not going to change it, but usually once we start putting a song together, and I look through my list of song titles, and pick one out, it all starts to fall a bit into place a bit quicker for me.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really dig it. Do you have like a personal favorite
off the album?
Yeah,
it's too hard. I change a lot from song to song. Yeah.
What about your favorite ones to play live?
Well, we haven't really played much live. We've done Dead by Dawn and Queen of Sin. We done on the tour, but we've just announced a regional tour called the Regional Tour. Victoria. So we're just doing a bunch of smaller town shows. To get it out there, and we've just added an extra 3 from the album. So we'll be playing. We're going to play 4 from the new album on this tour. So I don't really know, but I really do love playing Dead by Dawn.
Yeah, that's also like another catchy song as well too. Really dig that one. But how did it all like? I really like the sound production in that album. Like the sound production is amazing. So like, who did you work with for that album?
We worked with a guy named Chris the Melco. I've known him for a long time. He done our 2 singles that followed up to this album. He done They Walk Among Us and Demonic Death Machine.
Okay.
So they were just kind of songs that we released. I think we released They Walk Among Us in 2017. 2019 was Demonic Death Machine. They were just singles. That instead of an album, we released singles. I don't really understand why we did that. I think it was just so people
just
did,
releasing singles.
Yeah, I think it was just so people did know that we were still going to be putting out new music. It was just and we knew we were taking a long time but I was just unsure where to go at that stage. But those songs turned up really well. Oh, sorry. And then we released in 2021. We done a Metallica cover of Through the Never.
Oh, cool. I gotta listen to that one. Is that up on Spotify?
Yeah, it is. It's on Spotify. There's even a little clip that we done, a real rough clip that we made during lockdown for that.
Oh, mad.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So we done that. It was actually the 20th anniversary of the Metallica's Black Album. So we picked Through the Never from that. And thought we'd just do a cover. We noticed that they were releasing an album that was a cover album of all bands that they liked, and we just thought, well, we like them, so we'll do a cover of that. And we really liked the sound that we got from that. So I spoke to Chris about it and said that I'd like him to produce and mix our Nothing Stays Buried, the album that we're talking about now.
Yeah.
And I think he done a great job.
He done a really amazing job. Like, I've done a little bit of like sound engineering and mixing course like years ago. This is way before I became a chef at a like a music course, and they just teach you sound production and all that type of thing. So I know a little bit and what I want to hear in like recording and stuff like that. Normally I don't really talk about this kind of stuff, so you're like the first one that you ever heard about this on the show. But like I remembered they gave us an assessment to mix this local band. I can't remember who I think it was Jumbo Jet. They're just like a local band from Wollongong, I think it was. And just have do our mixes. And my teacher actually loved it. I didn't know I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I was just like, I think this sounds good. Where I just turn this shit down and put a little fade out in this one. But apparently he loved it. I think I've got the CD somewhere. It's in a box or something like that. But I've still got it. So I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah. Oh, well done.
Yeah, cheers. But let's go back to how your music journey started. So how did you start in the music business, and what made you want to become a musician?
It started at a very young age. I think originally I wanted to be a movie star.
In a horror film?
Yeah, I loved horror and I loved action and stuff. Like, I remember I had a big Terminator 2 poster up on my wall and a bunch of things like that. And I used to think, I'd love to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I was a little kid. I didn't realize there was no way I was going to grow as big as him. And there's a bunch of things. But I think I always loved music. Like, I was massively into music from the first time I started listening to my father's records and going through, and I would see covers like the Iron Maiden covers and stuff like that. That really grabbed me because of the horror art on them.
Yes.
And then I used to make up bands at school with my friends. Like, we'd pretend that we were in a band, but none of us could play anything. Like, we just kind of tell each other they had a position in a band, and we'd come up with a band and all these kind of things. So it was kind of just like a little fantasy thing. And it wasn't until we got a bit, maybe the end of primary school, we started listening to. I'm pretty sure I'd picked up an acoustic guitar by then, or maybe even an electric. I'm not 100% sure. But when we discovered bands like Metallica and Pantera, that were a bit heavier than what we were initially listening to. There was Guns N' Roses in there and that. We actually started picking up our instruments and jamming out. So I was jamming at a pretty young age. I reckon it was about 12 or 13. We put together a bunch of cover songs, like there was Silverchair and just all kind of like stuff that was getting played on the radio, pub songs, I guess you'd say. At the late 90s, mid 90s maybe. So we were playing, friends' parties and things like that. And in the meantime, we were writing our own songs. So yeah, I've been doing it for since I can remember.
Yeah. Oh, and that's awesome. To have a dream to be a movie star, you got to dream somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've given up on that idea. I think I'll stick to music.
You can probably act in one of your music video clips.
I've done a little bit of it, but I don't think I'm very good. So yeah, I don't know. Once that camera's kind of on me, unless I'm doing something like the music side of it. If I'm performing the music and there's a camera there, I'm fine, because it just doesn't worry me, because I'm so used to the performance. But I think if I've got lines and things that I need to say, I'd stumble. I'd
I think I'll be the same way as well too. I think my anxiety levels would just go through the roof. And so what was your first band like that you started playing in?
The first band was called Illusion. With two of my best friends, actually, and I'm still very close to them today. We started that together, but by the time I released a album with that band, there was two other friends from school. They were brothers. They'd joined. Just people had left the band. The drummer had cut his arm. There was a bunch of things. We were only very young. I think I was about 14 when I put out my first album.
Oh wow.
It was just independent, little one by ourselves. We got that was my first band. Then my second serious band was a new metal band with a bunch of really close friends again. Actually, the drummer from that band started Witchgrinder with me. So
cool.
Yeah, that's what we went off to do. We were in a new metal band for our around 18 till our mid-20s, and then there was a few years. There was a big break where I wasn't playing music anymore, and I'm not sure if I was that interested in doing it. It was only a couple of years, but I think because there was nothing that was really fully interesting me where music was at that time. In the late 2000 era, there was a lot of hardcore bands and emo bands and things like that getting around, and I didn't want to go back and be playing in a new metal band because I'd just done that. But then I'm sure that me and the drummer Nick at the time sat up and we thought what bands we really enjoyed, and there was bands like Rammstein and Ministry and Rob Zombie, Manson, and all those kind of bands that we felt that we really liked, and we noticed that there wasn't any Australian bands doing that style at that time, not that we knew of it anyway. So that really interested us to pursue what Witchgrinder is today. We didn't want to copy him, but you can see where you can always hear those influences when if you put on a Witchgrinder track, you can see where we're coming from, but it's not a direct copy of any of those.
Yeah, well, like industrial thrash, I think that's an awesome genre for sure.
Yeah, some people. It's funny, we get called a lot of different genres, but that tag stuck on us when we released the Horned album, which was that was our fastest album. The songs were a lot faster, tempo wise, where there was a lot of thrash kind of, thrash speeds and thrash elements. So I think we got tagged with that. I don't know what they've called us from this album. I've heard a couple, mostly just heavy metal, industrial metal, or industrial groove metal.
I could definitely hear that industrial groove metal in there.
I can hear that as well. Yeah, I think because me and the guitarist Scotty we were influenced by all those original bands like the Rammstein and Rob Zombie and more White Zombie, I think, with this one. But also we threw a bit of like our Pantera and Metallica influences into this a bit as well. Which Pantera are a groove metal band, so I can 100% see why people would be hearing that.
Yeah, well, now because you mentioned Rammstein as well, you could definitely hear that Rammstein sound on the new record too. That the very old school Rammstein sound as well, which is pretty fucking awesome. But do you remember your first gig with Witchgrinder? Do you remember your first show when you started? Yeah.
Yep. We actually played 3 nights in a row, which we called the 3 nights in. We done a Thursday night at the Tote Hotel. It was the first show. I'm not sure. I put the bill together, so I just picked out a bunch of bands that I really liked. And was lucky enough to get them on the bill. It was fun. It was really it was very packed. It was because me and my friends that were in the band, we'd had been getting around for probably about I think it was about 10 months maybe to get the band to write some songs and to get it to where it was to gig ready. So we'd been running around talking about it and telling all our friends they had to come to our first show, and so it was a good turnout. And then the second night we played out at this little bar in a suburb called Footscray in Melbourne, and I think we were on so late that by the time we were on, everyone had left. That was a Friday night. I think we were playing to one of the bands that were packing up their equipment while we were playing, and that was about it. I don't think there was anyone in the room when we played, which was disappointing because we played our first show that was, so big and packed. And then we played to no one the next night. But then the Saturday night we played at a goth metal club called Deviate. Which I had been going for the months leading up to it and handing out flyers and a free demo CD to everyone. I think I even done it that night. It would open at 10 o'clock, the doors, and the first, I think we were on about 11. So I had an hour to half an hour to run around downstairs, and I would hand out people flyers and make sure they knew, because it was on the top level where the bands would play. I made sure everyone knew that we were going to be playing that night at 11. So we had another full room. Everyone came up to check it out. And they
that's cool.
Whole set. So that was it was good, and we had great feedback, because that was the type of club that played that style of music. There was a lot of Rob Zombie going on. There was a lot of Marilyn Manson. There was, all those kind of bands. They just so these kids were going to this club. Well, when I say kids, I was the same age.
Yeah.
We were all going to this club, listening to this music getting played by the DJs, but there was no band yet doing it. So that I think at an early stage, we kind of cemented our name very fast. We done those 3 shows, and then after that, we done a bunch of shows back at Deviate. We would do shows any shows we could get on. We would play them. We just wanted to get our name out there so much. We got on the road, we got in the vans, and we drove to other cities. And but yeah, we had a pretty solid, nice fan base from the very start that have always been loyal and really, really supportive of our music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a great start. So I definitely remember our first show and our first couple of shows, because they were very, very special, I thought.
Wow, that's cool. And then, later down the years on a track, you started opening up for bands like Ghost, and you opened up for Ace Frehley as well, didn't you?
Yes. Yep.
How did that happen?
That the other day. That happened through Metropolis Touring. A guy named Fraser. Yeah. He's awesome. But the one who pushed it the most was Ash Rothschild. He plays in a band. He plays in a few bands, but the band he was playing in at the time, his bass player was a massive Kiss fan, and our bass player was a massive Kiss fan at the time. I didn't think we were very suited for it. I wasn't very. I didn't. Of course, I love Ace Frehley, but I didn't see why that would be a good idea to play that show.
It seems kind of odd. That's all. But still, fucking awesome to play with Ace too.
Yeah. It was amazing. We've done 3 shows with him, and he was a very nice guy. I didn't really get a chance to say much until the last night. But he was he was very nice, and the shows went a lot better than what I thought. We're very heavy. I think we played the least heaviest songs that we had, but I think that opened us up to a different, a bunch of different people who wouldn't usually probably come out and see something like us. Like Kiss was what they, like a lot of them grew up on, those kind of rock bands and AC/DC and things like that. So we played our more rockier songs, which even has some of that groove, to be honest. Like, a lot of people would come up and say that they could hear the Metallica and stuff. So there was fans of that kind of heavier style, but yeah, I still to this day find it a very weird support to be on. But I appreciate that we got to do it.